Chapter 51. Payton. I'm avoiding him. Not the best way to deal with a problem, I'll admit. But Kai is a very pressing problem, a very desirable distraction. So I keep myself busy, though I still manage to notice that he is doing the same. Girl after gorgeous girl finds their way into his arms and onto the dance floor, all of them wearing glowing smiles and green dresses. I bury the emotion I don't want to identify as jealousy, though it claws at me nonetheless. I have a job to do. I turn my attention back to my partner for the dozenth time. Kit smiles, continuing our easy conversation that my mind keeps wanting to wander from. I force myself to focus on his words, rather than the thing I need to steal from him. We spin, and I catch a glimpse of the key ring against the inside of his suit coat pocket. My fingers twitch, itching to tap into the thieving instincts I've suppressed while in the castle, for the most part. You look beautiful. I startle at Kit's soft words, forcing my gaze up to meet his. He's smiling at the look on my face as he says, "You shouldn't be so shocked by that." We're quiet for a moment before I finally form words. You shock me. Do I? Yes, I answer honestly. You are not what I expected. His grin looks almost too boyish to belong to the future king. Did I disappoint? I wish. No. His smile widens at the word, and I hurry to add, not yet. Then I'm dipping towards the floor, and he's chuckling above me as I suck in a surprised breath. He holds me there, and my opportunity arrives. This is the moment I've been dreading, been planning. His suit coat is open, his eyes are pinned on me, and his thoughts are on anything but the keys in his pocket. So I do what I do best. Thieve. I fumble, pretending to slip, though it's quite believable in the stilts I'm wearing. I throw my hands out to steady myself, one on his shoulder and one on his chest near the pocket inside his suit. His arms wrap tighter around my waist as I hold his gaze, smiling even as I slip my hand into his pocket. Smiling even as I betray the boy who has been nothing but kind to me. Smiling even as the key ring opens and I slide the largest one off the end, feeling the raised swirls that decorate it pressing into my palm. He pulls me up slowly, strong arms standing me upright. But my hand is already out of his pocket and resting behind his shoulder, innocent and insignificant. And here I was, thinking your dancing was improving, Kit says with a teasing smile. And here I was, thinking you would warn me before sending me flying towards the floor. I blow out a breath, smiling as I add, and now I could use a drink. Not too much to drink. You can barely remember the steps as it is. He tosses me a grin before turning towards the drink table. But I'll get you one, nevertheless. I let out a shaky breath as I watch him walk into the crowd, my corset suddenly feeling far too tight. The key is slick in my palm, hot against my skin. May I have this dance? I spin around, my face close to one splattered with freckles. Lenny's usually messy hair is combed, red strands tamed for the evening. He's dressed in a fine black suit, blending in with the rest of the men around us. Why, of course, I reply, forcing a smile to my lips. His hand finds my waist, mine finds his shoulder, and then our free hands meet. The key is clasped between our palms, and Lenny gives me a wide smile at the feel of it. Well done. Easy, right? My voice is distant, distracted. Yeah, easy. You remember the plan? I sigh. Well, I'm not really doing much, am I? Now all I have to do is survive the last trial. Yeah, well, that may be the hardest task of all. I nod once, focusing on the spinning figures around us, spotting Andy dancing with a blushing girl I've never seen before. My eyes wander to where Kit and Jax are laughing, the former ruffling his little brother's hair with a wide grin. I saw Blair earlier, though it isn't difficult to find her again with her bright green dress burning my eyes. I look away before I find myself searching once again for a certain prince in the crowd. There are only 5 of us left. I briefly wonder how many will survive to see the sun set tomorrow. Briefly wonder what parents will be mourning their child. Death is what these trials bring. Not honor, not glory, not happiness. Only death. Are you all right? Lenny's soft voice washes over me, and I turn my attention back to his big brown eyes. Are any of us all right? He gives me a half shrug. Good point. The dance ends, and our hands drop, but not before Lenny transfers the key into his palm and then his pocket. Be careful tomorrow. His voice is a low whisper, laced with worry. Oh, are you worried about me, Lenny? I croon. Maybe a little, princess. He almost rolls his eyes. Don't die, okay? I can't make any promises, but for your sake, I'll try to stay alive. Wouldn't want you to have to live without me. He smiles and shakes his head at me, but I catch his arm before he can turn away. Hey, good luck. And remember what I told you about the passage. Oh, and... His laugh cuts me off. Plagues have little faith in me, Peyton. I've got this. I sigh and give him a slight nod before he turns and disappears into the crowd. I smooth a sweaty hand over the thick corset of my dress before running it down the soft fabric billowing beneath. Then I turn on my heel, my legs sliding easily through the skirt's slits I begged Adina to make extra high so I wouldn't feel restricted by fabric. Maybe that's the claustrophobia talking, or maybe I simply like to have the option of sending a high kick towards someone's face if need be. I nearly run into Jax on the dance floor, and he grins at the sight of me. Peyton, hi! Do you want to dance? Andy ditched me. Not to mention that she has had far too much wine, and I don't trust her not to fall on top of me. With a laugh, I nod before we begin spinning around the floor. A mellow waltz has started, the type with specific steps and switching partners, the type I typically try to avoid. But I let my feet guide me, trusting myself to remember the correct steps while trying to forget exactly why I can do this at all. Try to forget being held in the dark, led with strong arms, and... Stop. Plagues, get a hold of yourself. I look at the boy in front of me, all smiles and excitement. You look dashing, Jax. His smile shifts into something akin to shy. Thank you. You look... We spin, and I'm pulled into the arms of a different gentleman. I nod politely to the young man, and he does the same as we step in time. Before I know it, I'm being passed around, held in the hands of men I've never met before. The waltz is a long one, making me regret stepping onto the dance floor. My feet are killing me. Then I'm turning into another body, encompassed by arms belonging to a grinning Kit. There you are. I knew I'd get you back. I crack a small smile. Took you long enough? I hear him laugh before I'm pulled flush against a new partner. You're avoiding me. My heart flutters at that voice, the butterflies in my stomach doing the same as the slight scent of pine washes over me. I blink at the broad chest, very aware of the strong frame hiding beneath the crisp white shirt. Taking a deep breath, I lift my gaze to meet his. Oh, and I wish I hadn't. His eyes are mesmerizing, like melted steel, morning fog. They cut through me as though he is unafraid to see every part of me. His gaze feels right, familiar. And when his eyes lock with mine, I wonder why I ever bother looking at anyone else. No. Despite him feeling so right, I feel so very wrong and so very confused. He hasn't taken his eyes off me, and the weight of his gaze is pressing as he patiently watches me puzzle things out. Puzzle these feelings out. I wouldn't call it avoiding. I sound very unconvincing, and rightfully so, since I've been doing just that. And even though my very life is a lie, it seems my skills of deception have run out for the evening because I'm not fooling him. The corner of his mouth twitches upwards, and I have to make a conscious effort not to stare at his lips. But just like this morning, I find myself wanting to lean into him. I don't know what would have happened if I'd stayed in his room any longer, and yet, all day I've been kicking myself for not finding out. It took everything in me to push him away, despite how badly I wanted to pull him closer. But then, I remind myself of who he is, what he is. Where he is the prince, the future enforcer, the son of the man I hate, I am a slummer, an ordinary, the embodiment of the thing he has been taught to hate. My thoughts scatter when a dimple catches my eye. Then enlighten me. What would you call it, Gray? He spins me out with one hand before pulling me back into him, my back connecting with his chest. My hands are crossed over my stomach where he's holding them from behind me, our bodies swaying together to the beat of the music. You seem preoccupied, and I didn't want to interrupt, I say, recalling the women he's danced with. His huff of laughter tells me he does too. The brush of his jaw against my hair has my heart racing. He leans down so his face is beside mine, lips brushing the shell of my ear. Do you want to know what I think? He tugs on my hands, pulling me closer. I think you're avoiding dancing with me because you can't handle being so close. I nearly choke on the laugh that escapes me. Please, I have no problem being close to you. Lies. Lies. Liar. It seems my skill for deception is back. Is that right? His lips are against my ear, fingers laced with mine, body pressed close. I'm hot and cold, yes and no, right and wrong. I'm the embodiment of opposites, a jumble of confusion and contradictions. I want this. I don't want this. He dips his head so his chin rests on my shoulder. Oh, I definitely want this. Oh, but I definitely shouldn't. Then why do you push me away? I still. There was so much emotion in his voice, so much raw uncertainty as the words left his lips. He spins me to face him slowly, not bothering to take a step back or put space between us. My chest heaves, my heart hammers. His eyes crash into mine, and I allow myself to take him in, admire this boy that I have come to know. He's devastating. Everything about him is stunning and sharp and stealing my breath away. But it's the way he's looking at me that suddenly makes swallowing seem like a struggle, breathing seem like a chore. I've never been looked at like it's a privilege to be in my presence, an honor to hold my gaze, a gift to get a glimpse of me. Not until I met him. His mask slips, splinters, shatters, leaving only a boy beholding a girl like she is worthy of his wanting. And what terrifies me even more is that I think I might be looking at him the same way, looking at him with that same longing. Try as I might to fight it, I can't help but long for this boy who has saved my life more times than I care to admit. This boy who is equally calculating and charming, equally cool and caring. The one who's tended to my wounds, learned about my past, been my distraction when I needed it most. The one who understands me. And then my heart halts, pulse plummets. But he doesn't, does he? He doesn't even know who I truly am, what I truly am. And if he did, he would kill me. Because that is what the enforcer would do. Because that is what the king's son would do. Because that is what he has been created to do. And for that reason, I push him away. Because if I don't, I'll pull him closer. And if I pull him closer, it will only end in a dagger being plunged through my heart. The heart that beats a little too fast when he is around. Breaks a little too easily, and aches a little too much for him. I stare back, not knowing what to say or do, or... I'm suddenly swept from his arms and into another's before I have the chance to answer. Perfect timing. You look beautiful, Jack spits out, grinning from ear to ear. That's what I was going to say earlier. He puffs out his chest slightly, proud of himself for finally voicing the compliment. Thank you, Jax, I say, smiling at him. When the song comes to an end, I quickly step off the dance floor. I'm eager to get away from the press of bodies as I snatch a drink off a servant's tray and head for the edge of the ballroom. Except that I can't seem to escape the crowd. Everywhere I look is occupied by groups of gossiping guests or silent servants. My eyes sweep over the packed ballroom, landing on the large windows and the fresh air that awaits just outside of them. I itch for a moment to myself, a moment free from the crowded and closed-in room. I sip at my wine, watching the whirling guests before I set the glass on the table and head for the hallway beyond the ballroom. I'm forced to slide between bodies, hating the cramped feeling. I suck in a breath as I head towards the giant grand doors leading to the courtyard beyond. The sound of my heels clicking against the floor fills the silence as I approach the daunting doors. My hand is outstretched, itching to throw open the exit, when a flash speeds between me and my salvation. Chapter 52. Payton. The Imperial's smile is cold as he peers down at me, white uniform crisp and smelling of starch. "I can't let you do that, little lady." His belittling tone has me biting back the retort rising to my lips. I am not in the mood. I just need a few minutes outside for a bit of fresh air. If I were in loot right now, I wouldn't even bother being polite. "Like I said, I can't let you do that." He smirks, and a few of the Imperials lining the hallway chuckle with him, apparently a part of whatever hilarious joke I'm missing. "You don't have permission to be outside of the castle, little lady." I clench my fists at my sides, resisting the urge to dare him to call me little lady one more time and see what happens. All I'm asking for is a moment outside. "Really? And what are you willing to do to get it?" He leans in, and the stench of alcohol on his breath is evident as he says, "What's in it for me?" Then he slings an arm around my waist, tugging me towards him. Wrong move. My fingers wrap around the handle of my dagger, feeling the cold steel I'm about to— "Careful. She'll press that blade to your throat. I would know." I still, turning my head slightly to see Kai standing several feet away, hands casually tucked into his pockets. "Now let her go and open the door." His voice is like the steel of my dagger, cold and sharp. The Imperial only sputters. "But, sir, we have orders that the contestants are not to leave the—" "And now you have new orders, so I suggest you open the damn door." Kai's blank expression hasn't changed, despite his deadly tone. He's even leaning against the wall now, his hands still stuffed into his pockets. The perfect picture of power. "Oh," he adds, "and if you want to keep your job, your hand, and your head, I suggest you release the little lady." I almost crack a smile at that. The Imperial doesn't waste a second before practically jumping away from me. He knows just as well as I do that Kai's threats are never empty. The Imperial strides swiftly past Kai, but not before the prince's hand grabs his shirt and slams him against the wall. "I lied," Kai mutters close to the man's face. "You'll be lucky if I let you keep your head, let alone your hand, for lying a finger on her." The doors swing open, tearing my eyes away from the scene I'm not sure I want to witness. Humid, sticky air hits me the moment I begin descending the steps into the courtyard beyond. The sky is dark and thick with heavy clouds that rumble with the promise of rain. I take a deep breath, relishing the fresh air and open space around me. Something wet splatters on my cheek, and I turn my face towards the cloudy sky that is now beginning to drizzle down on me. I spread out my arms and tilt my head up, loving the feel of rain pelting my skin. Then the drizzle turns into a downpour. Rain is falling rapidly while I'm smiling stupidly. My head feels clearer than it has in days as cool water coats my skin, my dress, my hair. I spin in place, the skirts of my gown swishing around my ankles, feeling like an idiot and absolutely loving it. I slip the shoes from my aching feet and pad through puddles like I did as a little girl, reminding me of a time when I was younger and yearning for the love of a father who was no longer with me. I was terrified and terribly traumatized. The crowded streets of loot pressed in on me constantly, making me feel caged and claustrophobic. But then, I would climb up to the roofs of old shops and buildings with only the stars for company. I felt freer in the open air, impossibly more peaceful. I did that for months, years, before my fear fell away and loot became more of a home and less of a horror. Laughter bubbles out of me. Hysterical. I am completely hysterical. Plagues, how much wine did I have? Rain is sticking strands of my hair to my face and dripping down the tip of my nose while I smile through it all, momentarily forgetting about my troubles and simply taking a moment to exist. I don't know that I ever lived before lying eyes on the likes of you. I spin, blinking through the steady stream of rain before my eyes find the gray ones, blending in with the sheet of water falling down on us. His hair is dripping wet, all wavy and tousled. His white button-down shirt is sticky and see-through, showing off an inked chest and tanned torso beneath. And the sight of him has me smiling. I'm sure you say that to all the little ladies who catch your eye, I say, half laughing, half hysterical. Oh, but I only have eyes for one little lady, and I can't seem to take them off of her. His chest is rising and falling just as rapidly as the rain, while my heart is thundering just as loudly as the storm. He's suddenly serious, scanning my face. Did you need some fresh air? A break from the crowded room? There he goes again, understanding me. Yes, I answer softly. I feel much better out here. Freer. He bends near the beds of flowers beside the stairs and plucks one from the soggy soil before rising to his feet. Good, he says quietly, because I am going to get very, very close to you. I let out a slow breath when he takes a step towards me, then another, and another. He's close enough now that I can feel the heat of his body, feel the heat that spreads through me when he gets too close. I tilt my head up to meet his gaze, blinking at him as I try to see through the rain. I wipe at my eyes, suddenly aware that there is likely makeup running down my face, before deciding that I don't really care. His lips are tugged into a smile as he holds up the flower to me, drooping and dripping with water. Its small petals are a stunning shade of vibrant blue that hints at purple. A forget-me-not, since you always seem to be forgetting who I am, Kai says with a soft smile, a soft laugh. He lifts his hand, tucking the flower behind my ear before letting his fingers run through my wet hair. Oh, I know who you are, I say breathlessly. A cocky bastard. He shakes his head at me, his fingers still toying with strands of my hair. I don't give a damn if you forget who I am in title, so long as you remember who I am to you. I stare up at him, and something must be amusing because through my rapidly blinking eyes, I watch a slow smile spread across Kai's lips. I open my mouth to say something, only to snap it shut when he begins tugging off his suit coat. It slips from his arms, leaving him standing before me in a white shirt completely soaked through. Well, that's not distracting at all. He steps even closer, and with the coat draped over his arms, he holds it over my head to cover me from the rain. Kai. The smile that lights up his face stops me short, steals my breath. It's one of those rare, real smiles of his that I confessed I wanted to see more of. One that belongs to me. Dimples. Both of them on display. Both distracting. Both devastating. What? I ask, my voice filled with laughter. He shrugs, a smile still spread across his face. I just love the sound of my name coming from your lips. I clear my throat that has suddenly become far too dry. Well, Kai isn't your real name now, is it? He's silent, nothing but a smile and a sudden intensity in his eyes, daring me to say his full name, wanting me to say his name. And apparently, I want to say it too because when I open my mouth, one word falls out. Malachi? His eyes flutter shut. His head falls back, allowing the rain full access to his face. The smile on his lips and the column of his neck makes me swallow. His head is still tipped towards the sky, speaking to it as he says, Only you can make my name sound worth saying. Well, what would you like me to call you? Kai? Malachi? My voice sounds so breathy, and I almost wish I could blame it on a panic attack. His answer is simple, straightforward, as he dips his head down to look at me. Call me anything you like. I'll never pass up the chance to hear your voice, darling. I can feel a smile lifting my lips. All right then, cocky bastard it is. I wasn't prepared for the laugh that escapes him. It's a rich, beautiful sound I wish I had the time to commit to memory. Careful, Kai. His smirk grows at the sound of his name once more. You're being a gentleman again. My gaze flicks to the black coat he is still holding above my head to shield me from the rain. But you do know I'm already soaked, right? Yes, well... He sighs and ducks his head so we are eye to eye. As adorable as you looked blinking up at me in the rain, I want you to see me clearly when I tell you this. There goes that stupid flutter in my chest. I meant what I said. I can't take my eyes off you. I can't take my mind off you. I look away from his burning gaze, shaking my head as I mutter, Kai, Payton. I still. I shiver. He says my name like it's sacred, like it's an oath he's swearing. He tilts his head to the side, eyes roaming over my face. Tell me, he murmurs. What do you want me to call you? My eyes slowly meet his, confused by his question. What do you want to call me? I want to call you mine. We stare at each other, both of us breathing hard, both of us taking in the other. The rain is still splattering Kai, clinging to his thick lashes and dripping from his jaw. I know you feel it too, he says quietly. Feel what? Feel alive? Feel on fire? Feel? There is an intensity in his eyes, his voice, that makes my heart race even faster. He looks away, cursing under his breath before his gaze crashes back into mine. Pei, when I look at you, I'm devastated. I'm drowning. I'm dying to catch my breath. The air leaves my lungs, and now my blinking has nothing to do with the rain. His next words are nearly a whisper. Look at me and tell me you don't feel the same. Silence. And then, I don't feel the same, Kai. Lies. Lies. Liar. He ducks his head, and when he lifts it to look at me again, his smile is crooked. Then he slowly lowers the coat shielding me from the rain and wraps it around my shoulders, fingers lingering against my bare collarbones and sending a jolt through me. It's far too big, and his hands curl around the fabric before he tugs, pulling me so close that my body is pressed against his. He is still clutching the front of the coat, knuckles brushing my bare skin, before his lips are against the shell of my ear. Now, answer again, his murmur is amused, but without tapping your left foot this time. My mouth falls open. His lips are smiling against my ear, and I'm trying not to focus on the feel of it. I don't... His deep chuckle cuts me off. God, you're stunning. Rough fingers have never felt so gentle against my skin as he brushes a strand of wet hair out of my eyes. But so damn stubborn. I can't do this anymore. I can't not give in to the temptation that is him. I'm suddenly unable to think of a single reason why I'm fighting this, why I shouldn't close the gap between us right now. I want to... His lips meet mine. Barely. It's the whisper of a kiss, a promise of passion. And yet, I nearly melt at the contact. His hand is cupping my face, thumb stroking my cheekbone, and then... Nothing. He pulls back. I nearly gasp, wanting to grab him, pull him closer, press my lips to his. And I'm about to do just that when I suddenly remember a time when our roles were reversed. When I was the one teasing him with touches. Now I understand exactly how affected Kai was by the lack of my touch during our game of archery and distraction. The feel of something and then nothing is a cruel thing to bestow upon someone, and he's left me burning because of it. His other hand has found its way around my waist under his large jacket, and the heat of his palm through my corset is a brand. He tilts his head, studying me with a small smile. He knows exactly what he's doing. And yet, he's taking me in as though he doesn't want to rush this moment. His thumb has found my bottom lip, where it's now trailing lazily, igniting a fire inside of me. You promised that I could touch you when I was sober. My breath hitches, and the corners of his lips twitch in response. I was not expecting him to say that. I was not even expecting him to remember my hasty promise from the last ball. He ducks his head, his mouth suddenly a breath away from mine once more. But I'm never sober around you, Pei. Never not drunk on every detail that is you. I'm speechless. Utterly speechless that this boy could feel so much for me. If I kiss you, really kiss you like how I've wanted to, how I've waited to, should I expect a dagger at my throat? His voice is rough, his gaze greedy. And then I reach up slowly and flick the tip of his nose. This time, I do take a moment to memorize the smile he gives me. I guess you'll have to kiss me to find out.
Chapter 53. Kai. She flicked my nose. I never knew a heart could feel so much, could be so affected by the flick of a finger. I guess you'll have to kiss me to find out. Oh, and I plan on doing just that. I've barely been able to hold myself back from wanting to hold her. She's so beautiful I can hardly believe it, hardly breathe. Her soul is stunning. Her very being is bright and bold and so unbelievably better than I am. She is a good beyond my grasp, one that I am not worthy of glimpsing, let alone grabbing hold of. And yet, here she is despite that, choosing me. It's a privilege to look into those eyes, to drown in the essence that is her, because everything about her is too right, and everything about me is too wrong. But I am selfish. I take what I want, and what I want might just want me for once. My jacket is still slung over her shoulders, and the rain is rolling down her face, her hair, clinging to her long lashes and dripping makeup. Beads of water join the light freckles dusting her nose, all 28 of them. The steady stream of rain is slapping the cobblestone at our feet, soaking us to the bone. I'll take my chances, I murmur as my fingers catch her chin, tilting her face upwards towards mine. Her mouth is pulled into a soft smile that only draws my lips closer to hers. She doesn't pull away. Perhaps the beast can earn the beauty after all. Her eyes flutter shut against the rain still relentlessly falling on us, and I don't think I've ever witnessed a more beautiful moment. My pretty Pei, what have you done to me? I murmur, my nose brushing hers. Is this what it feels like to truly feel? Closer. The sparks between us are almost tangible, snaking their way up my body and shocking me. Closer. Our lips brush. Your Highness? I halt. Then I sigh against her lips, making her shudder. I pull back, barely, just enough to look between her eyes and the mouth I had every intention of lazily exploring. I don't even acknowledge the Imperial that dared to distract me from her. My eyes are pinned on Payton, my voice deceptively calm as I say, I hope whatever you have to say is worth losing your tongue over for interrupting us. I see the Imperial shift on his feet, out of the corner of my eye, equally uncomfortable and concerned. Sir, you are, Payton looks like she wants to stab him, and I'm considering letting her do just that. Still not deeming him worthy enough to look at, I speak towards Pei as I say to the Imperial, spit it out before I make you, or before I let the lady do the honors. Her lips twitch, and the action has me losing control, has me pulling her face towards mine, completely ignoring the gawking guard. It's the king, the Imperial blurts, no doubt knowing he won't be able to get my attention again once my mouth has met hers. "It's urgent." It was not, in fact, urgent, and I am, in fact, seriously contemplating carving out that Imperial's tongue because of it. Even though I know he's not to blame, I need to take my anger out on someone, and that can't exactly be my father. "I don't need you to babysit me," I sigh, not bothering to conceal my annoyance. "Then stop acting like a child and maybe I'll stop treating you like one." Father's gaze is piercing, pinning me to the spot. Memories of when I was a boy come flooding back, memories of those stern eyes watching as I endured test after test, watching as he forced me to torture someone for the first time, forced me to fight him. A cold laugh climbs at my throat, only to be lost in the sound of music and chatter filling the ballroom. This is bullshit. "No, it's necessary." His voice rises, causing guests to quickly turn in the other direction, avoiding the temperamental king. "What's bullshit is that my people just watch their prince, their future enforcer, race off the dance floor after a slummer." He spits the word like the taste of it disgusts him. "How quickly you've forgotten that slummers are also your people, father. My people." I fire back, fists clenched at my sides, so I don't do something I'll regret. But I certainly don't regret running after her. He faces me fully, his chest rising and falling with anger, promising punishment. If I were about 5 years younger and 5 inches shorter, this look might have frightened me. But not anymore. "I will not see you throw away your kingdom's respect for a girl, for that girl," he says, voice low and lethal. "I'll find you a different pretty plaything who isn't a mundane if that's what you need." Once again, I'm puzzling over his clear hatred for Peyton and our clear hatred for him. But, knowing he won't answer that question, I ask instead, "So you sent one of my own Imperials to spy on me, to lie to his prince and say there is something urgent?" My voice drops, and I take a step towards him. "An innocent man will lose his tongue because of the order you gave him." "The fact that you don't think this is urgent alarms me." The king's nostrils flare in a way I've come to associate with punishment to follow. "I thought I trained you better than this, boy. Perhaps you need some more lessons." At that, he almost smiles. "Your duties are to these people, your kingdom. You belong in here, a part of this dance, where everyone can see you, see their future." His lips curl into a sneer. "Not outside playing with your pretty new toy." I stare him down, my blood beginning to boil. "What do you think could possibly happen between you two, Father's laugh is cold as he continues. "Who knows? You might just have the pleasure of killing her in the next trial." Something inside of me snaps. Power surges through my veins as every ability in the room presses down on me, begging me to release one. When I'm angered like this, it's harder to keep control, harder to suppress all the power thrumming inside me. The king's words echo in my head, mocking me, making me feel weak for letting my restraint slip away. "I thought I trained you better than this, boy. Perhaps you need some more lessons." A strong hand falls on my shoulder. "Easy, brother," Kit mutters under his breath before stepping between father and me. His smile seems to ease the tension like it always does. This isn't the first fight that he has broken up between us. Kit clasps his hands in front of him casually, as if he hadn't just seen father and I nearly ready to rip each other apart. "Sorry to interrupt, father. You look like you could use a drink, and maybe a dance or two with mother." The smile he gives him is the same one he's been offering since we were children. The smile that cries out to be called worthy in the eyes of our father. The smile he plasters on, hoping to make the king proud of him, hoping to live up to the high expectations and fit into the giant shoes he must fill. He's always craved the approval, the attention from the king. Kit loves to be loved, and even he feels a lack of that when it comes to our own father, despite the far better relationship they have. So, he will do whatever it takes to earn it. And I don't fault him for it. Perhaps if I hadn't grown up with a father who tortured me with training, I would love him enough to want him to love me back. But Kit grew up with a different version of the king, one who instructed and taught with a table of paperwork stretched between them rather than a sharp blade. One who taught him the ways of a king rather than the ways of torture. One who molded Kit into a man rather than a monster. Kit places an encouraging hand on Father's arm, urging him towards the drink and desserts. They both toss me one final glance, one of them kind, and the other quite the opposite. Fortunately, I've never been one to lust after love, especially that of our father. I gave up on that the day his blade met my skin for the first time. I scanned the room for Peyton, already knowing that I won't find her. She's likely been carted off to her chambers to retire early for the night, by order of the king. I almost laugh at his feeble attempts to keep me away from her. If I can't keep myself away, there is no way in hell he can. Chapter 54. Kai. The bowl is packed to the brim with people. We could hear their shouts and stomps from the castle as we walked down the tree-lined path towards our final trial. For the third time, we face what could be our final day. At least for this trial, we weren't drugged before being dragged into a random location first. I awoke to a bang on my door, followed by a note slipped underneath it, informing me that the final trial will be held at the bowl. That left me no time to even speak to Peyton, let alone think of her before I was being silently escorted out of the castle. We've a live audience this time, and they roar when we step inside of the large arena. Imperials press in on every side, leading us to the rail overlooking the pit several feet down. I hear a collective intake of breath from my fellow contestants, our gazes locked on what lies below us. It's a maze. The entire sandy bottom of the pit is covered in rows of intertwined hedges and plants. The walls are dense and tall, filling the entire bottom of the oval arena. It's enormous. We are ushered down the wide steps descending towards the maze. I'm the last in the line of contestants, and when my feet sink slightly into the sand, we halt.
Welcome, young elites, to your final trial.
I turn my attention to the comfy glass box sitting at the bottom of the stands, decorated with its 3 cushioned seats. Kit sits to the right, his eyes scanning the maze before they seem to land on me. I see his head tip slightly, silently wishing me good luck. After nodding slowly back at him, my eyes slide to where Mother looks elegant as always, legs crossed and face relaxed, as she watches her husband standing at the edge of the rail, looking down at us as he speaks.
Though you have all made it this far,
Father continues, Tiala projecting his voice beside him with a gentle hand on his shoulder.
there can only be one winner.
The crowd cheers, the sound like a battle cry I'm all too familiar with.
Your last trial is spread out before you. A maze.
Cold amusement contorts his face.
Though nothing is as simple as it seems.
Then the maze shifts. I catch the movement out of the corner of my eye and whip my head towards it, watching as the walls of foliage fold and reform, the hedges twist in new directions, altering the paths and creating new ones. Blooms. I spot them now, dozens of figures standing along the edges of the maze, arms outstretched. They've created this trial for us, and they know how to control it.
In order to win this trial, thus improving your chances of winning the entirety of the purging trials, you must be the first contestant to make it to the center of the shifting maze.
The king pauses.
But that is not all.
There is always a catch.
Not only do you have to be the first contestant to reach the middle, but you must also kill the person that awaits you there.
Murmurs skitter across the crowd, but Father's booming voice cuts through them easily.
The person there is deserving of this punishment. They have committed crimes against the kingdom and will pay for them with their life.
I'm not surprised. This way, the king will guarantee at least one kill to entertain the people during this trial. I mentally shuffle through each prisoner I know to be rotting in our dungeons, wondering which sorry soul will meet its end today.
May you all bring honor to your kingdom, your family, and yourself.
The crowd echoes the king's words, as an imperial leads each of us to a separate opening of the maze. My eyes dart across the pit, scanning the imperials and the contestants they are escorting. And then I see her, silver hair pinned up, swaying with each stride, 28 freckles dotting her nose, though I can't count them from here. Lips I've yet to truly taste pressing together, and ocean eyes crashing into mine. I give her something then, a smile, one that is meant only for her. There is nothing I can say to her, no time to taunt her with teasing words, if only to ensure she will stay alive long enough to punch me in the face when this is all over. So I don't say a thing. I raise my hand and flick nothing but the air in front of me as I hold her gaze. Plagues, the glowing grin she gives me is gorgeous. She lifts her hand, flicks the air, and then she's gone.
Chapter 55. Payton. Today is the day. In fact, today might be my last day. The Imperial guides me to an opening near the other side of the maze, leaving me there to stare up at the looming walls of foliage that dare me to enter. Dare me to get lost within its twists and turns. Just survive today. That's all you have to do. The sound of snapping twigs and twisting hedges from within the maze tells me that the paths are changing again. The maze is moving. Movement to my left has my head swiveling towards a young girl, eyes glossy and unblinking as she stares at me with a hand raised above us, projecting what I hope is an emotionless expression onto one of the giant screens for all to see. There must be dozens of them patiently awaiting us in the maze, ready to broadcast the bloodshed. I keep my face blank as I turn back to the opening of the maze in front of me, though I'm restless to race inside and get this over with. Everything will change after today. Let the final trial begin. I barely hear the king's words echo through the arena before the cries of the crazed crowd drown them out. I blink away my thoughts, blinking up at the opening before me and the walls awaiting. And then I'm running. As soon as I step into the maze, I'm smothered by the blanket of shadows. It's dark and damp, but I don't slow my pace. I run through the path of plants and hedged walls, skidding to a stop when I'm faced with my first decision. Left or right? I don't have the time to ponder my options, so I hang a left and am immediately faced with the same decision. Right. I run and dead end. I backtrack, turning left instead of right, and pick up my pace despite my slight panting. I fall into a routine of random guessing, retracing my steps and cursing. Lots and lots of cursing. Damn it! I'm yelling at nothing but the sixth dead end I've had the pleasure of stumbling upon. I spin on my heel and head back the way I came, barely glancing at the sight who just witnessed and recorded my little outburst. I huff, senses feeling dull in this damp maze. The cries of the crowd outside are muffled, muted by the layers of thick foliage separating me from them. It's eerily quiet in here. Nothing but the sound of my pounding feet, pounding heart, and the panting breaths filling the silence. And then the maze shifts. The path I'm standing in narrows, the hedges on either side of me press in. I'm about to be squashed. This is my nightmare, my most terrifying claustrophobic nightmare. I sprint for the end of the path where another one awaits, one that isn't moving and won't crush me if I make it there in time. My lungs are burning, my feet shifting in the sand with each stumbling step. Twigs and leaves and thick greenery brush my shoulders on both sides, threatening to swallow me whole as they continue closing in. But I keep running towards my salvation, towards the path awaiting me only a few yards away. Branches and thorns I hadn't seen before now tear at the exposed skin on my arms, unrelenting as the walls continue to push against me. Any longer, and I'll be trapped between foliage, skewered by branches and thorns. Dead. I'll be dead if I don't get out. Now. I dive. I hit the clear pathway hard, rolling to break my fall, and that's when pain erupts up my leg. Lying on my side, chest heaving, I follow the stinging sensation to my left foot, the one trapped between the two hedges that have now molded together. A strangled cry slips from my lips, and I clamp a hand over my mouth to stifle it. Red, hot blood is running down my leg, dripping onto the sand beneath it. I sit up, trying to calm my breathing as I stretch shaky hands towards the ankle that is barely covered by my now shredded boot. I lean forward and claw at the tangle of twining branches, leaves, and thorns ensnaring my leg. After barely managing to snap off a branch, I've never wished for my dagger more than in this moment. The maze is the work of blooms, the work of elites. Power fills the foliage creating these walls, woven together with the branches and leaves and thorns to make them thicker and stronger and deadlier. I gulp down air, forcing myself to ignore the flaring pain in my foot. My hands clamp around my calf. I take a shaky breath, and then I pull. It's like fire. The pain is so hot, so searing. I bite my tongue until I taste blood, watching as I pull more and more of my foot into view, while simultaneously pulling the ruined boot off my foot. I stop, gasping for breath and a break from the pain. Without my boot to protect my foot from the thorns and jagged branches, it is a mangled mass of torn flesh. Well, the part of it I can see, that is. The other half of my foot is still swallowed by the hedges now fused together, refusing to release me. I swallow my scream of pain when I pull at my foot again. More torn flesh comes into view, bloody and looking like red ribbons trailing deep across my skin. With one final yank, followed by one final yelp, my foot is freed. I fall onto my back, gasping for air and gasping from pain. I blink up at the sky, allowing myself one more moment to breathe before sitting up and tearing off the bottom strip of my tank. The burgundy fabric blends with the seeping blood from my wound as I wrap it around my foot as best I can. Adina would be both fascinated and disgusted by how perfectly the colors match. I push off the ground and stagger to my feet. Pain. Sharp pain and a slew of curses. I limp forward, trying to ignore the throbbing ache from my foot that's climbing up my leg. But I can walk, proving that the injury could have been much, much worse. Sweat clings to me, soaking the tank that is now torn dangerously short, displaying a good chunk of skin before the band of my pants wraps under my belly button. And despite the damp, cool breeze blowing through the hedges of the maze, I'm uncomfortably hot and sticky. I press on, off balance from pain and the lack of both shoes. The darkness deepens as I head further into what I hope is the center of the maze and what awaits me there. And if I make it there first, I will hold someone's life in my hands. Left, right, left, left, dead end. Right, left, dead end. My claustrophobia has me feeling like the hedges are pressing in on me. I slow to a stop. They are pressing in on me. Panicking, I spin my head in every direction, trying to find a path that isn't attempting to swallow me whole. No luck. I force myself into a stumbling sort of run, skidding down paths at random and finding them all shifting. This can't be right. The king wouldn't just throw the contestants in this maze only to crush us for fun, right? Wasn't the fun supposed to be watching us crush each other? I pause and allow myself to pant, to panic. If the king intends to flatten me with hedges, then there is nothing I can do about it. So I stop and stare at the walls of greenery closing in on either side of me. Then I close my eyes, bracing myself. Looks like there will be one less ordinary to worry about. Branches brush my shoulders, and I stiffen, suddenly and sadly prepared to greet death. I'll see you soon, Father. Nothing. I peek open an eye, only to find that I'm faced with a wall of greenery. I blink. The hedges are no longer moving. I spin around, a branch snagging the fabric of my tank with the movement. The path is now only slightly wider than the width of my shoulders. I stagger towards the end and turn down another, finding it just as tight. I swallow, making a sharp left down an equally narrow path. How cruel and cunning the king is. I almost want to applaud him for this appalling game. I was right. The fun of the trials is watching us crush each other, and he just set the scene for the show. A scream cuts through the quietness, ringing for a moment before being silenced the next, sending a chill sweeping down my spine. Once again, we are being forced to fight, and there is only enough space on these paths for one body to pass through. I take a shuddering breath, feeling the claustrophobia pressing in like the walls brushing my shoulders. Only one contestant can fit on these paths at a time. So if I run into one, thank the plague. The voice behind me is dripping with venom. I was worried I wasn't going to get to kill you before these trials ended.